Hey YouTube people, Cameron here with the Seabuders channel. We are taking a look at the Xiaomi M365 Pro scooter. The M365 scooter was very popular here in the US. The Pro scooter is not quite available in the US, but you can still source it from China through Banggood, GearBest, lots of different places. But it's fairly uncommon here in the States, but it should be coming soon. And I really like this scooter because it's kind of known as like, this is the scooter to get. There's the Segway Max out now, which is kind of a version of this. And frankly, it's probably a better scooter than this one. It's a little more expensive. But there's so many mods and such great communities built around the M365 scooter that I really had to go for this one just for the modability of the scooter. And this Pro version has a larger motor. You go from a 250 watt to a 300 watt. You go from a 110 disc brake to a 120 mil disc brake. You get a little bit larger stem. You bump up from a 7.8 amp hour battery to a 11.8 amp hour battery, so you get quite a bit more range. And there's a lot of unboxing videos for this scooter, but what I kind of wanted to go over is all the mods that I'm planning to do on this scooter. So there's about 10 different things that I'm going to be doing to increase the battery life, to improve the creature comforts, and to improve the braking. I live on a big hill, so I really want to make sure that I don't die on this thing, and upgrading the brake is one of those things. Anyways, let's go through some of the mods that I'll be doing. So there's about 10 different things. The first one's really easy. Let me give you a closer look at the scooter. So, first mod, here we go. I've got this PETG filament that I have printed, and I'll include the Thingiverse link in the description, but this is a great little piece that fits right over the kickstand to keep it safe. I printed that at, let me switch camera views on that so you can get a little closer look. I printed that at 109%. So depending on what filament you use, you may want that. They recommended 110, I believe, for PLA, PETG. So I made it just a tiny bit smaller, and that fits on there really snug. I don't think that's going anywhere. So first mod in the bag. The next mod that I'll be doing, and keep in mind, I'm not going to do all these right in this video. This is kind of just an introduction to the scooter and an overview of all the projects that will be coming down the pipeline. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and catch these videos if you're interested in the Xiaomi M365 Pro scooter. And here we go. This is a rear fender bracket, and this is going to go on the back here. And this will just provide support to this rear fender so it does not move as easily. On the original Xiaomi M365, the wires were exposed. The Pro has this little bracket that protects the wire, so you don't need this to protect the wire, but it will be super useful in making sure that if you accidentally step on the fender, you don't break it. It'll just provide a little bit extra support. So the next modification I'll be doing, another easy one, is this little guy right here has a rubber grommet over the top of it, and that tends to get lost very easily. It kind of just flips right off, so I will be gluing that down. The other thing I will be doing is replacing this rear disc brake with some X-Tech HB-1000, I think is the model name. And also the rear disc brake will have to drill out a larger 140 millimeter disc brake to go with that. You can use the 120, but the brake pads don't line up quite right, so I'm planning on using 140 millimeter custom plate that I'll be drilling. I'll show you how I do that once I get there, if it all works. And I'll be placing a hook here for carrying, your helmet when you're not using it. And the other thing I'll be doing is, if we look at the bottom side of the scooter, there's this bottom plate, and a lot of people don't like it because you've got these ridges that are really hard to clean. Dirt gets stuck in them. I've got a metal plate that I will be putting over the top of that for ease of cleaning, but I'll also be opening this guy up and installing some thermal pads on the MOSFETs on the controller, just to keep things cool. There's not great cooling on the MOSFETs, and if you're a PC guy, you know how important it is to keep your MOSFETs cool. So there's that. It's debatable how much that helps thing. I've seen some people say, you know what, like if they're gonna blow, they're gonna blow, but I just think it can't hurt to make sure that things stay nice and cool on the bottom side of this machine. So yeah, I've got some thermal pads, some 0.5 and some 1.5 millimeter, depending on what it looks like when I get in there. So there's that. I will also be opening up these tires. I've got some thicker inner tubes and some tire liners to ride flat free, Mr. Tuffy. So hopefully this is the right size. I got some 2-inch tape, and if it's not, I may have to trim it down, but that's going to go inside and line it. These are pretty flexible. I haven't seen people use these on this scooter per se, but I thought the fact that they're flexible rather than really rigid, that they might do pretty well. And also, I will be working on something. Well, I have been working on something. That's this right here. This is a little Y or T adapter, I guess, that I've soldered up, and that's for installing an external battery. So I'm going to put an external battery bracket here, and I have a 36 volt, 12 amp hour battery on its way that I'll be installing in this space. I'm going to design a 3D printed container for that battery once it shows up, and I can get some measurements off it. And I hope I can make it look really cool and streamlined. And that will wire up through these holes here. I don't know which side, one of these sides, and down into the battery. That battery that's coming, I'll also be replacing the BMS on that lithium battery with what's called a common port BMS. And a common port BMS charges over the same wires that it puts output on, which is good because this battery has regenerative braking and it puts power back into the battery. And it will also let me charge via just one single port. So I'll just have both batteries connected and charge over this, and the battery will manage itself. The external battery will manage itself up here, and the normal battery will manage itself as usual, and this should result in a really easy to maintain configuration. So yeah, and adding that extra battery in there should give me, I'll have, what, you go basically a 12 and a 12, I should have 24 amp hours. That should hopefully get me plenty of range, probably more than the Segway Max, I'm sure. So some people opt to do solid tires. I didn't want to do that. I've heard that the vibration in a solid tire can really mess up the joints in the batteries. So, hopefully I get some slime in there, get the stop flat protector in there, some beefy inner tubes, and a really nice tire. Hopefully we won't have to change too many flats on that. And that's what I'll be doing on this scooter. So I also have been able to flash this scooter. It came with 1.6.0 firmware, and I was able to put that to basically unlock the top speed. It has plenty of power on its own, and you don't really need to adjust the power values, but just opening up that top speed gets me to 22, 23 miles per hour instead of 18.5 miles per hour. So just unlocking that top bit of speed will really help get places faster. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this overview, and I hope you subscribe so you're able to see all the updates that are planned for this M365 Pro scooter. And we'll see you on the next one.